Welcome back, everybody, to the Adaptations podcast, where every week I bring on guests that are heavily involved in fitness, whether it's through business, through sport, or for fun, so that you too can get inspired by their lifestyle. Today, I have one of my best friends, Lopburi, quote unquote top, the assassin, Sasinin.
Dude, thanks for having me.
But yeah, I like being down here in Jersey City. What's Edison like? Are you thinking about moving out of there or still staying there?
I mean, I'm Edison, but like Ford's. I'm gonna stay there because it's only like 12 minutes from my job.
What do you do again?
I'm a junior tennis coach in Edison at the Garden State Tennis Academy. I've been doing that for 12 years. I've been coaching for like 14, 15 years, but I've been playing tennis since I was like 4 years old. So,
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Tennis isn't an easy sport, man.
No, it's not.
It is not.
It really isn't, but it's pretty fun when you know how to play.
Wait, at what point is it fun? It seems like it's like you're learning, then you're competitive, and then so I guess it's fun when you're winning.
It is fun it's way more fun when you're winning, for sure. But you're not winning a lot. you're losing a lot more than you win.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
That whole like moving side to side thing, like, so I think a lot of people don't realize that moving side to side laterally, we don't really do that often throughout our day. We mainly move forward, like walk forward.
Yeah. Definitely tennis is, like you said, a lateral sport. That's why I'm better at sprinting short distances compared to like running longer distances.
Yeah.
But I think that when I I wanted to get into running, like longer distance.
Yeah.
But I ended up injuring myself. Like I was talking to you before about I was trying to train for a half marathon.
Yeah.
Like last year.
But what happened? What kind of injury?
Like my solealis, like I feel, or my calf area, Achilles ankle area, like it would be so. I think I had like tendonitis, like really bad tendonitis, and it would be hard for me to walk on the court, like just to teach a lesson. And I was like, okay, something is wrong here.
Yeah.
You know, I did a program like developed by one of my students' parents who's like an ultra marathoner, and I think it was just too intense on top of working the 40 plus hours a week on the tennis court. And I was doing like it's not a lot, I guess, but I guess in the first month I did 60 miles in total.
Oh wow.
But my body is just not used to that kind of abuse, I guess.
Yeah.
So
do you track anything besides just mileage and time?
Do you mean like what
like
do you
your
mean,
heart
like
rate?
No, I didn't track that. I mean, I was totally beginner, you know. I was just doing it because I thought it was something that I like doing things that I guess I was always afraid of pushing my body past a certain limit where I'm like, oh, if I run 10 miles, I'm gonna break, you know. My body's gonna break. But it didn't break.
Yeah.
You know? And it was kind of cool. I got that runner's high, you know. But yeah, it was just too much volume with the intense job that I have teaching tennis every week. So I had to dial back down on that. And then I think when it gets warmer, in the summer or the spring, late spring, I might start implementing running again. But I think I need to build a foundation a little bit longer, you know, foundation and go slower. And I think my recovery is a little slower, you know.
Yeah, because especially since you're out on the courts all day,
right?
And you're teaching tennis. How many hours a day are you teaching tennis?
About 7-8 hours.
Yeah, and people don't really understand that.
Straight?
That's a lot.
It's a lot because when you're like at an office or you're usually on wood. You know, wooden floors are softer, but when you're on the tennis court, it's concrete, and you're also in tennis shoes all day. So tennis shoes are supposed to be pretty tight on your feet, And just standing on concrete all day, I mean, I feel bad for like the construction workers, like they're in their boots, but they're in the concrete all the time. Like it's just not good for your for your body, like your back, your hips, your knees,
Right.
everything is just more impactful, like compared to if I was working in an office or something, or I don't know, working maybe at a gym or something.
Right, right. Because
rubber, like
Right,
turf
right,
or something.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. This guy that designed the program for you, he was a runner, but he's not necessarily like a coach, right?
No.
No. I mean that's fair. He got his feet wet. That's how we all start. We write a program for a friend. If you want, I could put you in touch with a colleague of mine. He's a coach. Specifically a coach. He's out of New York. He's run the New York City Marathon,
Oh, nice.
and he's really into utilizing your heart rate and programming based off of zones as opposed to distance and mileage, which might be conducive towards, managing the intensity. I'm actually interested in getting coached by him too. You've inspired me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive.
Dude, so maybe
His
well,
training sounds expensive.
I don't know what he'll do. I gotta ask him.
Oh my goodness.
But knowing that you're my best friend and we'll probably hop on this together, maybe he'll program for us. We'll support him. We'll support his business. I'm not gonna ask for a discount, but it is what it is. We'll just talk. We'll talk. Yeah, guys. If you got a friend out there, don't ask for a discount. Don't.
Yeah, I don't. When another friend has a business, my friend cuts my hair.
Yeah.
I actually tip him more. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm in the service business, and I just know, like, he'll take an hour to cut my hair, and I know I'm sidetracking.
No. That's the point. That's the point.
He takes an hour or hour and 15 minutes to cut my hair to make sure it's good. And then he's like, what is it? Maybe like $25 or something like that. And then usually people leave like a $5-10 tip. Like, I go overboard and give him like what I think his value is. So,
you're a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little too nice, but
yeah, you've always been the type of guy that you'd go to McDonald's and you just.
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Yeah, he's like on me, Like, you're just that kind of guy. So
I'm so nice. Treat you to McDonald's.
I know. A plethora of times, too, which I'm grateful for. But, yeah, going back to the coaching thing as like a tennis instructor and how the level of difficulty that tennis is, I just think some people just jump into tennis and they don't realize that their body isn't meant to move like that yet. Mm-hmm. So if, like, someone does want to get into tennis, what would you advise them would be, like, a safe method to get into tennis? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Are you talking about like what exercises they need to do to get into tennis?
No, just general. Like, let's say, for example, like if you're looking at me and I asked, like, Top, I really want to get into tennis.
Right.
Like, how would you advise me to start playing tennis? Because I feel like if I just try to do it right away,
right,
I'm scared personally. I guess that's my fear too. Let me be honest with you, is that my body has adapted to just going up, down, forward, backwards.
Right.
That if I try to move side to side, I might sprain tear an ACL or some shit.
Yeah. For beginner, like adults, we have a program for that at our club. But you just find a club, you could even, if you had any friends to play with, you could do that. But I would find a club to play at, and they would have probably a group clinic. And, you'd be at the beginner level, so they wouldn't be doing anything too difficult. They would just be feeding balls to you. You wouldn't be really playing against each other, sort of, in the beginning, so. But, I mean, tennis is a great cardio sport, Yeah. Really gets your heart rate going. There's, it's more of like you're sprinting for a very short period of time for one point, and then you rest for 30 seconds or something, then you do the next point. So I think it's a good sport. It's not too impactful. I mean, if you're playing, obviously I'm on the court 7-8 hours a day. But I think it's a good sport. What's the new trend is for adults is pickleball.
Pickleball. Why is that blowing up?
I think because it does not require you to move as much as you have to on the tennis court. And but you do have to, because it is with a wiffle ball, right? And you do have to bend your knees more because the ball doesn't bounce as high. But the court is the court is smaller, so it's friendly for like older people, especially if you just play doubles.
Okay.
Because then you only have to cover like half of that tiny court.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't know too much about pickleball, but they got some special rules. You know.
Have you
so-
gotten into pickleball? You played any pickleball?
I've never played
No.
pickleball. We were trying to think about a way to start an adult program of pickleball at our club. Like one of the directors is doing that. But one thing is, it is so loud.
What? Really?
It is so loud. Like when you hit that, because it's a paddle, it's a hard paddle. So when you hit the paddle with the wiffle ball, that thing echoes like crazy. I think in Westfield or something, there was like an article, or I don't know if it was Westfield maybe, but there was a pickleball court in a tennis court, but the women, the older women, they play pickleball, and like the neighbors were annoyed by how loud it was. They were like, this pickleball trend is not good. Like this sport is so loud, you know. So, but people like it. You know?
Yeah. It's something to get you moving, keep you
Cool.
going, be active.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I try to preach to all my clients is as long as you're being active, you're playing sports with your friends, doing something to get you moving. Because a lot of my clients are sedentary. They sit down. They don't really do much in terms of physical activity. Maybe they fidget a lot. Maybe they shake their leg a lot. But in terms of moving, as soon as they get out of that position, or if they get out of that, that sedentary position too abruptly, too quickly, and try to like go ham on the court, they end up injured somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally different because just sitting here, like I'm like, oh, my back is getting tight. I'm just used to being on my feet all the time. I feel like if I didn't have this job, I would be fat as fuck. Like that's how I feel.
So, what do you normally eat on a given day?
Oh, I mean, I skip breakfast.
Okay.
I usually just drink coffee in the morning, and then so I prepare meals with my girlfriend, like either Sundays and or Wednesdays, and there's a whole bulk of meals of just like rice, some kind of protein, and some veggies or potatoes. It's just simple. And then at night, I'll just use one of those meals, because we don't have too much time. Like our schedules are actually opposite, where she's gonna be a teacher, so she's student teaching right now. But I'm like after school program till late evening, like 3 to 10 p.m. And she's, morning 8:30 to 3:30 or something like that. So we're opposite, so we don't have as much time. So we just decided to start meal prepping. I mean, I should have done it sooner. It saves so much money.
So that's actually a really great point. What were you doing before that? What was your diet?
We would just eat out all the time.
Yeah.
And we would just make meals for that one meal. Like it, and I just feel like it was a waste of money, to be honest. And I was like, oh, I don't want to eat the same thing all the time. It's boring. But it's not that difficult. It's so much more convenient to take the meal that you homemade and the ingredients that you put in, and you just microwave it, and then you just eat it. And it's like it's so much better than just eating out and or eating a lot of processed food. So, yeah.
See, I'm not allowed to say that because then I'm just, I'm a coach. I'm supposed to say that.
Right.
But I'm happy you said that.
Which part?
The eating, making your meal prepping, making your own meals is so much more convenient. Because when I tell people, hey, why don't you just meal prep? Why don't you just cook for the week? Their first reaction is like, oh, eat the same thing every day? And it's like, dude, it's not that bad. And number one. Number two, if the meal is ready, you can eat as soon as it's lunchtime before your cravings start setting in. So you can actually mitigate some of those cravings and overindulgence.
Yeah, I think that before I also thought it was difficult and it would take such a long time to meal prep and all these things. First of all, it could also not be boring. Like, I mean, you have to make different types of, you have to kind of know how to cook a little bit, You obviously have to have like that rice cooker, right? I'm Asian, so you have to have that rice cooker, pressure cooker, actually. That rice is done in like 12 minutes or
a pressure
something.
Cooker?
Yeah, the pressure cooker.
It's
What
not
is it? Isn't it an Instapot?
Is it just like a regular rice cooker?
No, because a regular rice cooker would take like 20, 30 minutes to cook the rice. So it's like 12 minutes or less. Or
12 minutes? And what does the texture of the rice come out as?
It's good.
It's great.
It's good.
Fuck.
Jasmine rice. It's great. I should get you one.
I got to get on this wave.
I should get you one.
So what kind of recipes do you normally cook? What do you eat?
It's just, we usually make fried rice, you know, put some egg in there, maybe some sausage, soy sauce, whatever. But then we just mix it up with like just chicken, steak, shrimp, ground beef, sometimes ground turkey, maybe some pasta. I actually have been losing weight doing that. Like, I try to make my meals as delicious as possible, but it's definitely with I guess the size of the container that it's in, it's like, it fills me up, but I don't feel as bloated as I normally would feel if I was eating something out that I didn't make.
I was going to say, you look like in great shape. I don't remember.
I'm not in great shape, but
no, you look like you're in great. No, nay, my friend. I remember there was like a while ago, years ago,
right?
You started gaining some weight
during COVID.
I think it was like a little bit before COVID.
Oh God!
Yeah, it was a little before COVID. It was like when you were going on the like rager wave.
I was drinking a lot.
Yeah, you were drinking a lot.
Those IPAs.
Yeah.
Not anymore though.
And you like blew up. Like you even regardless of how active your job was,
right?
You were kind of like blowing up, and you went on this wave of, okay, I'm gonna stop. Like, I'm gonna cut. You would cut, and then you kind of went back.
Yep.
You flip flop back and forth, as we all do, though. Like, I do the same thing. But now it seems like you kind of found something that works, something that you can rely on, something that's tasty, something that's sustainable.
Yeah, I think that it actually, when we meal prep on Sunday together, first of all, it's something to do as a couple, you know? And it's just you guys just starting. Just start, like, as soon as I start, like, I get on a roll. Like, okay, start making the potatoes, cut some veggies, you know? And it only takes, we timed it, it only takes, like, about 2 hours. I think one time we did it, we made, like, I don't know, 15, 14 meals in, like, an hour and a half. And the amount of time it would take for us to make those individual meals would take an hour each time, or 30 minutes, 45 minutes each day. So I'm already saving time, you know, doing that. So it's definitely worth it for sure to meal prep. So.
And then in terms of like, even if like, let's say you're ordering out.
Okay.
Obviously you're saving money.
Yep.
And then one thing I realized is when I'm usually ordering out, if I'm ordering out, it's typically because I'm hungry and I want to eat right away. Mm-hmm. And then I got to wait another 45 minutes for my Uber to get home.
I don't know how you guys order Uber. Oh, wait. Well, you're in Jersey City, though, right? I mean, I'm used to just, if something is 5 minutes, 10 minutes away, I just pick it up.
You know, that's
I don't do that.
Something about being in the city, like in New York, Jersey City, just the metropolitan area, I guess. Uber is... It's I think it's like more booming in this area than in areas where places are typically farther away from you.
Yeah, I just feel like, man, if I Uber Eats, I feel lazy as well. I don't know why. I don't know how you do it, because it adds so much more cost to the price of it's already expensive.
Yeah.
Going to McDonald's is super expensive. Yeah. Unless you're getting some kind of promotion.
No, dude, it's ridiculous. Even with the promotion, you'll on Uber Eats, I'll get like 10-piece and fries, and it'll cost me $30. And it's like, why the fuck am I paying $30 for a 10-piece and fries?
Yeah, I would feel bad because it would be more expensive for me, because I would tip the driver much more. Because I'm like, they're giving me a good service here, so I gotta give them like 20% or something, 15, 20%.
All right, I'm exaggerating though. It wasn't $30, but I'm making a point. But yeah, you're that's funny. You would tip the person more than the actual meal itself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's why I would just go and get it myself, or I would spend 2 hours, an hour and a half on a Sunday meal prepping.
But I love that, because now it's like you control what you eat. It sounds like you're having a well-rounded diet with the vegetables, some starches, some starchy carbs, some proteins.
Yeah.
You're active now. You've been active, but now you're trying to do this half marathon.
I think at this point, my priority is just, as I'm in my 30s, early 30s, like to stay injury free because I can't afford to injure myself. I just can't do it because I need to move. I need to hit with these kids, you know. I need to be mobile.
I can't
hit
these kids.
Hit these kids, yeah. Just beat them.
You don't actually beat them, right?
Sometimes.
No.
No. Yeah. So I'm actually pretty careful about what kind of activities that I'm doing. I think we were talking about it earlier because I went snowboarding for the second time. What is it? I don't remember when. Oh, in December. Yeah, and I just was really careful because I'm not that good at snowboarding, and I had to wear a butt pad, you know, because you just fall a lot. And last time I did it, I was going too fast and I landed on my tailbone. It was bad. That's a tough. I don't know.
I think
sport.
It's funny that you're the irony in what you just said. I'm trying to be more careful, and so I'm going to stop running, which is the safest thing you can do. And I'm going to go to an extreme sport like snowboarding.
And then I'm going to go hiking too.
And you're going to go hiking. Oh, that's really cool too. I forget that you're like an avid hiker.
Yeah, I love hiking.
Yeah.
Great.
What mountains have you hiked?
Oh God, it's too many.
How many?
I mean, in general, or I mean, I usually hike in the Adirondacks. So, oh God, I'm talking about the Adirondacks again.
You knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've hiked 21 out of the 46 mountains,
Okay.
but I've done some of them multiple times. So, I mean, I've also hiked in upstate New York. Sorry, not upstate New York, in the Catskills and in PA and, you know, other places. So, but just like the Northeast, yeah, it's fun. I like getting out there. You know, it's definitely a different vibe out there. You feel like the air is different.
Yeah.
And you're going out there to hike, and when you're in Jersey, everything is so fast, like traffic, and people are rushing, people are flipping each other off, like, oh, fuck you. And just getting out of your environment, it just feels, I took you, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely, did it feel different?
Yeah,
out there?
absolutely.
You could actually see the stars.
Yeah, that for sure. I agree with everything you just said. It does slow down. You know, you become more present because for me, at least, number one, I'm just a hypervigilant guy. I'm looking out for bears, tigers, raccoons, everything.
Campsite.
But besides that, you definitely just slow down. You know, you're not thinking about your phone. You're not on your phone.
Exactly.
You put your phone down. You do get like lost in your thoughts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're looking around, as you're exploring and you're entering new territory,
Mm-hmm.
You are more, I guess, pulled out of your thoughts and pulled into reality, into the now, into the physical world, as opposed to the virtual world that we're really attached to.
Yeah, there's no signal out there.
Yeah.
Right? You were like, where's the Wi-Fi top? No, actually, you were surprised that there was Wi-Fi.
Yeah, at the campsite.
I'm like, yeah, there's Wi-Fi. Just go over there by the bathrooms.
But you're right.
You
That's
know?
glamping.
It is.
We glamped a little.
It is nice.
It is nice.
It's nice. It's nice, but I feel like you need to disconnect.
Yeah.
I feel like for me to reset, sometimes that's why I like going out there and just focusing on when you camp. All you think about is your just the things you need, right?
Right.
Just your shelter, which is your tent, and your food, because you got to cook your food unless you meal prepped it before, and your clothing.
That was definitely glamping. Now that I think about it, what did we have? We had like ribeye, we had potatoes, we had.
I'm extra.
Oh, that was so
Wanted
good.
to host you really well.
Oh, you did a fine job, my friend. That threw me over the edge. I definitely want to go camping again. After camping like that, like it was nice.
Yeah, I don't backcountry camp. It's just we're at a campsite.
Yeah.
It's car camping. The car is parked right there.
I think it's a great entry point for people who find themselves very anxious.
Yeah.
Want to be more active.
Right.
It's a great thing to do is just go out to hiking. We found a campsite. Well, you know the campsite. You drive in, and if you know friends who've camped like I do,
Mm-hmm.
then you ask them, what should I bring, what to expect. And then 90, I would assume, I haven't done it yet because I haven't camped on my own yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that 80, you're not going to be 100% prepared. And I kind of like that aspect of like, oh shit, I could have brought this. Oh shit, I didn't think of this, and I need this, because now you're kind of, so there's like two methodologies to dealing with stress in my mind. Number one, action. Can I do something about this? This is stressing me out. Can I do something about this? And then number two is acceptance, so that when I can't do something about something, something about something, I accept the reality so it no longer stresses me out. And only temporarily, until I can take action.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so what I love about camping is that when you're missing something, you forgot something,
Right.
there's you kind of just accept that this sucks. And all of a sudden, it's just something about it doesn't suck as much anymore.
It simplifies, like, when you don't have the thing that you thought you needed, and then you find out you didn't really need it. It simplifies everything.
Yeah.
It's that like minimalism of, do I need all of these? Because the first time I camped on my own, and I would lead, I guess, a group, I'd like stress over bringing everything that I could, and I realized you don't need as many things as you thought you need. You're not gonna use that TV in the tent.
Yeah.
You don't need that. You don't need all of these things, which is I guess decluttering the mind, right? Keeping things simple, decluttering the mind. I definitely am a very anxious, person. I do get stressed, and about bringing things or just anything in life. I'm just very, very like a anxious person, and I just feel like when you're out there, out in the outdoors, and you're with nature, it just kind of like heals you a bit. It heals like your soul, and Instagram doesn't do that, TikTok doesn't do that, So I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And to piggyback off of that, you are with yourself. That is, you discover yourself a little bit further. I think one of the biggest issues that people have with Instagram, TikTok, and I don't know, I guess I'm speaking for myself as well, but back then was when I would see somebody doing this, or when I see somebody take a trip, somebody had this accomplishment, somebody, I don't know, something going on in somebody else's life, and I'm looking at my life and I feel like my life is kind of boring, then I kind of negative self-talk, negative conversation with myself that just drives me down this hole of depression and anxiety. But camping is nice because you're alone with yourself. Nobody is present with you. So you have to dig deeper into your sense of identity. And once you fortify that sense of identity, it doesn't matter what everybody else are doing. It really, who gives a shit? Like, good for you. That's my favorite phrase. Is good for them, because I'm genuinely happy that they're accomplishing things. I'm genuinely happy that they're moving forward with their lives. And then when people are talking shit about other people, because I don't like talking shit about people, I'm like, that's not my business. And I think those two pillars kind of keep me at peace with all of this social media stuff, because I'm posting a lot more. I'm doing podcasting. We're on YouTube. We're trying to like do like long form content on YouTube as opposed to the shorts. And it's, dude, the conversations that I have myself sometimes is like, dude, this is kind of stupid. And I'm like, no, I can't think that way. I can't be my own critic. I can't be judgmental of myself.
I mean, I respect that. It's like we're seeing the start of something. I'm in the beginning phases of. I mean, thank you for inviting me here. I'm in the beginning stages of something great. And if not, you learned a lot through the process, right?
Yes.
Like, you can take all these lessons of, I don't know, organizing, I don't know, scheduling these things, and creating content, and I think it's hard. I think what you're doing is very different than the average person. And I always looked at social media and I was like, oh, I don't think I could ever do this. I don't think I can make this video. Oh, I would look stupid doing this video, And like, here's my best friend Jorge doing this and this. And I'm like, wow, like, if I wanted to, I could do that. I could content create. I don't want to, but
Mhm.
if and I respect you doing that without, the monetization of it. You're not getting, you're putting so much work into it, time, money, you got your brother here helping you out,
Yeah.
and it's it's respectable what
Thank
you're
you.
doing to
Thank
build
you.
this foundation, what you're trying to create.
Thank
So,
you. I appreciate you saying that, Yeah, the one thing I found just being the secret to all that is just having fun. Just kind of enjoying what you're doing, enjoying
Yeah.
the ride. And, when you say stuff like that, when people say stuff like that, it's fulfilling. I will say that much. It's very fulfilling to know that, number one, on one side, we're building a platform for people to speak,
Right.
quite literally. And so what's also really neat is with that is a platform that I don't really want to use for myself because I'm not that into myself, but I am into other people. I love people. I love getting to know people, getting to learn about people, their
Helping
background,
people, right?
helping people. So to give you an opportunity to just tell your story,
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. I think we are similar in the fact that we love to help people.
We do,
because it really does motivate me when I have a client and they're struggling with. Usually, I teach kids between the ages of 9 to 17.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is a pretty big range. They have all different needs, but when someone is struggling with, some technique or some mental block when they're in competition, like it feels really good. It feels really good to help these kids, and you're making them a better person, and you're teaching them a lot of like different lessons without them knowing, kind of like the Mr. Miyagi, like you need to paint the fence, you need to I don't know, what is he?
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah. Oh my God, how to forget that? So you're teaching them a lot of things throughout like through working with them, so that they don't know, like just being able, because what I said before was you're going to lose in this sport a lot more than you win, but every time you lose, right, you really only lose if you don't learn anything from it, right? Or you don't have the right attitude, you're not trying, you just tank. We call it in tennis, you're just tanking. And you learn about yourself, right, in competition. And one of the things that I'm focused on is I'm not only their tennis coach, I'm also sometimes their sports psychologist, their therapist, their physical trainer, like mobility, right?
Yeah.
So all of these things happen, like the counselor, like there's so many different aspects of it. And what's really important is when they're in competition, I try to get them to understand, how do they feel on the tennis court? Like, do you feel comfortable just being there? Because I've been there where I used to be a very nervous kid in competition.
Yeah.
So I know what it feels like and how to overcome it. And I would say you don't look very comfortable, because a lot of kids will say, I play great in practice. But when I'm in competition, I can't bring out the best tennis player that I can't perform well. So how do you deal with that? Well, we talk about just breathing, right? We talk about keeping things simple. We talk about trusting your body and trusting that you know how to hit these shots, right? But there's a lot of things that I feel like in today's generation with these kids, their minds are racing. Like maybe that has to do with technology, I'm not sure. But my job is to try to get them to calm down, to calm their mind down and to breathe and to only think about the present. Because when you start in tennis, it's really easy to get ahead of yourself. And if you're winning, you're like, okay, like I'm going to win this. This is easy, I got this in the bag. And then a tennis match can change like on a dime. Like you lose one important game, now they're winning, and then you start like, again, you start thinking about too many of the future things that could happen. Like if you're in a tournament, you're thinking, oh, who am I going to play the next round? And you're still in the match. You're playing right then and there, right? Or the other side of it is you're thinking about all the mistakes you made in the previous games because you're losing, and you can't let it go. You're not letting those things go, and that's affecting you, and now you're playing worse, right? So there's just a lot of, I try to focus on getting the kids to think in the present moment, right? One of the things in this sport is like it's a gentleman's sport, right? You're supposed to be people expect you to be not emotional, right? But what I promote is it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to have all of these feelings. Like if you're feeling frustrated, if you need to yell, just let it out, you know? That's why I don't agree with like if you break a racket, you get like a penalty, or a code violation or something. Like it's very stressful because you're out there tennis is the only sport where you're out there by yourself. Your coach can't help you. Your parent can't help you. Nobody can help you. And you're not allowed to show any emotion. Like, isn't that weird? That's really crazy. And the amount of stress that these players have is insane, especially during in the professional level. But going back to what I was saying, just like staying in the present moment is really hard to do. For a tennis match can last an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's really difficult. And to just focus on the point that you're on, it gets super difficult. So what I try to teach my students is like if you're having trouble being distracted, right? Because I actually have one student, he has like ADHD, and like if you have trouble with focusing, don't look over at the court on whoever's playing over there. Don't look up at your parent. If it's an important moment that you have to focus on, just focus on yourself by taking the racket, looking down at your strings. A lot of times when I'm playing tennis, when I was competitive, I would just look down so that I could have this kind of tunnel vision. And I would only look up at the opponent for the next point, right? Because it's really important to be in the zone. And when I'm in the zone, when you're there in the zone, that's when they play their best, But yeah, I am focused on just getting them to understand themselves better.
That's wicked. That's actually wicked. I've never really heard that explanation of tennis before. To think that number one. So I'm thinking like, why isn't that the case with it? Because I've wrestled, I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've let's see, I tried out for a basketball team.
But you did?
Yeah. But in those cases, I wasn't really thinking about the past or the future. I was trying to read my opponent again and get back into it. And I've seen it happen in like MMA fights where the person's exhausted, they're tired, and they physically can't keep pushing forward. Mm-hmm. But I've never really seen it in a way where they've mentally given it up. I mean, there's obviously times when a fighter mentally gives up and you see that they're taking shots that they weren't, like they're taking shots to the face that they weren't taking before. And their technique starts to crumble. It just seems like they've given up mentally, but it doesn't, I don't know. I don't really see that happen very often, at least for me. Tennis, the way you described it is you can be there for like an hour, 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And it's not like you're constantly playing those 2 hours. It's like short bursts, which means there's a lot of stopping, a lot of just doing, like waiting, right?
Yeah.
In a way, you can do a lot of thinking in that time.
Yeah, you can get distracted in a lot of that time as well. I mean, obviously it's a non-contact sport, so it's definitely different from, it's not as animalistic as, wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all of those things, Right. So it's a different mentality. There's a different flow. It's kind of like dancing, There's a different flow to tennis where you have to have rhythm, right? You have to have good footwork, good reaction time, things like that. But there's definitely a flow. When you get into a certain rhythm and you found your rhythm in the match, that's when you can start to play a lot better. Yeah.
You took dance classes, right?
I did. I was barn dancer for 5 years. My partner was my sister.
But you guys were pretty good, right?
We competed and stuff. We were recommended by one of our coaches when we were younger to do some kind of dance. So it was between ballet, which I definitely didn't want to do because you had to wear tights, or ballroom dancing. And I tried out ballet. I hated it. Went to ballroom dancing, did one class, like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a life skill.
That's pretty
Thank you
cool.
to my parents for putting us in, I don't know, 10 different activities at once. God, it was no time to hang out with friends and stay off the streets of New Brunswick. So,
yeah, that's definitely a way to keep you off the streets.
Yeah.
Out the hood.
Yeah.
In the hood.
Yeah.
But that's pretty interesting. So for any athletes out there listening, I think, taking a dance lesson is really awesome because it teaches you how to move in different planes, how to turn, how to use your legs, how to be more precise. Because especially if you go to a respectable dancing school, they typically have their own high standards that they compete at, and they like to embody that and teach that to their students.
Yeah, it definitely helped with the balance. For
too.
sure, the balance, and because you on some dances you have to do heel toe, you have to be in connection with the partner, right? So it's just a lot of things that really, I guess I didn't know my body was learning, but it helps so. I try to teach good footwork. I really strongly try to teach good footwork in my lessons. And some of the kids are just so uncoordinated, and and then I would tell them I did ballroom dancing. They're like, wow, like, I don't want your footwork so good, But yeah, that's really important in tennis, to be able to balance and load with your core and your hips, and to be able to recover with balance, So, yeah.
Yeah. I think Israel Adesanya, I think he was like do you know Israel Adesanya? He's like a MMA guy.
Naruto,
yes.
Yeah.
He is the last style bender. I think, was he welterweight? I don't know the actual weight classes, but he was champion for a very long time.
Right.
He was a kickboxer first, but I think he also did like hip hop dance class.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he knew how to like pop, how to isolate muscles, isolate groups, and like you said, be balanced, very precise.
Right. Yeah, I mean, his body is like meant for UFC. Oh my God, for fighting. So,
yeah.
Like, he's very lengthy, right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have like huge calves or huge legs, right?
Yeah.
But that guy is fast.
Yeah.
Guy's fast.
Yeah. Very precise.
Yeah.
Very smooth. And his last fight that he fought against Alex Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the only person to have beaten Israel Adesanya in his kickboxing career twice. And so Alex Pereira comes from kickboxing into the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
And within, I think, 3 or 4 fights, becomes the champion. Which is also very rare. You don't really just come into UFC, do like 3 or 4 fights, and then become champion. You typically start off from the bottom, work your way up.
Mm-hmm. Did he knock him out?
Yeah, he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Technical knockout, I think it was, because the referee technically stopped it.
Oh, okay.
But the cool part and that's actually really cool too. So there's another video of Alex Pereira, because he came from he's from Brazil, but he's I'm not exactly sure how, but he's related to a tribe out there, to an Amazonian tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a video of him doing the Brazilian dance style fighting with somebody else. So they don't actually fight. It looks more of like a dance, but it can be used as a combat, like for combative reasons. Really cool stuff. Like, I just think this whole like mix of dancing plus your sport, it opens up this new potential to just learning how to be more well coordinated, how to balance yourself, how to move in different planes. And I think that's really the most impressive thing to me about tennis, is being able to move in those different planes, because I cannot move in those different planes. I move side to side, and again, I'm scared that I'm going to like break my knee, twist my meniscus, tear an ACL. It just happened with me with snowboarding, and it was like a freak accident. It wasn't even.
Oh, you went snowboarding?
Yeah, I went snowboarding at the big snow in Mall of America.
When?
This was November of 2020.
Oh, this is not recent. Okay.
No, this was a long time. That's how I
at the
tore my
mall?
meniscus. Yeah.
Wait, not Dream Mall?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I tore my meniscus.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was a freak
remember
accident.
that.
It was simply because there was a person that was off the dolly. I don't know what you call it, the lift.
Yeah, the lift.
The lift,
yep.
right? And it looked like somebody had tried to get off the lift and had just fallen. And so then it was my turn to get off the lift, and there she was right in front of me.
Yeah, she didn't move.
She didn't move.
Supposed to get out of the way.
Right. And so what do I do? Do I just run this like snowboard into her back?
Right. Oh, you tried to avoid.
I tried to avoid her. Yeah, I tried to avoid her. But I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
It got caught. My knee twisted.
No.
And I felt like, oof.
Where was your leg that was not in the snowboard? Was it in front of the board or behind? Because I was always told not to put my left leg would be in the board.
Yeah.
And my front leg would be in the board and my back leg would be free. But I was always told to keep my back leg in the back, like of the board, not in front of the board. You know what I'm saying or no?
Like in the board or on the board?
No, on the board, yeah. But if I was to push, right?
Yeah.
Right? You have two sides of the board. You can be on the back side, like, I forget it.
Wait, no, go ahead. Just wait. So like the back
Like
side?
you're not supposed to put, let's say my right leg.
Yeah.
I'm facing the right. So I can't put my right leg in front of the board. I'm supposed to keep it in the back. And this is my left leg right here.
Oh, like when you're...
This is not podcast friendly.
When you're riding like one... when you're riding with one leg in?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't...
No, I think I'm just kind of like a little slow in that.
No, it's
I think...
Okay. But you twisted your knee because you tried to avoid, and then you felt it immediately?
Yeah, I felt that immediately. Like, you felt like a
goodness.
crack pop like type feeling. And then I'm okay with pain, like getting injured, stubbing my toe, like rolling my ankle.
Right.
But this one was different. This was like scary. It was very scary. It's like, oof, I've never felt that before.
Being locked in to a board, right?
While you're twisting.
Definitely a lot of the injuries happen after coming off the lift.
Yeah.
And that is scary, right? That is scary. I had to do that. That was probably the scariest moment of the whole entire going up the mountain and then pulling up the bars, right? And then there's people coming behind you, so you got to get out of the way. And it's if you don't know what you're doing, like you should definitely, I would highly recommend just getting a lesson on a bunny slope or something because just jumping right into it is not it's not smart, especially if you're an athlete / coach who needs to use their body. You know?
Yeah, totally agree with you, man. I totally agree. We should have gotten lessons, but we thought that after
skiing is a little easier.
I think that if I were to hit the slopes again, I'm gonna try skiing.
But the thing I'm afraid about with skiing is it's easy. It's actually snowboarding is hard to learn, right? But easier to kind of master. And skiing is easy to pick up, but hard to master.
In what way?
Like, when you do skiing, you're on 2 feet and they're separate and they're both facing forward. So you just slide down the mountain.
Okay.
But when you're snowboarding, you're sideways, so you're always falling on your butt.
Right.
So if like you want to pick up something easier, you just ski.
Okay.
Because you're facing forward.
Yeah.
But the scary part is they say to do pizza, right? Where you put your legs together.
Okay.
Your toes forward together in a triangle, and that'll slow you down. I mean, I'm going off of like YouTube videos.
No, that's fine.
In my life, but it's really hard to slow down. I feel.
To slow down on the skis?
Yeah, because you
can't just put the sticks in front of you.
Because at least.
I thought that's what the sticks were for.
I don't think you can just stick them there. No, that's for when you're at a flat surface. Right? You're not going down a mountain. You're at a flat part of the mountain, and you have to push yourself.
You can't just waddle.
I don't know. I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Because
I don't know. I'm not a people who like snowboard and ski. They're like, dude, these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking.
Let me get on the podcast. Let me talk about.
Talk about skiing. Let's get somebody on the podcast who knows how to ski and dance.
Yeah, because I like the idea of like sliding, and going down the hill.
I don't.
I like the
Not
concept.
fast. I don't like
Not
going
fast though. Yeah, I don't like going fast either.
Probably shouldn't ski because it's hard to slow down.
Oh yeah. And then there's like the whole idea, like the fear of like running into a tree and
Another person or getting
another
run
person.
over by these kids who are flying down the mountain. That's what I don't understand. I mean, we have the right of way because we're in front of them.
yeah.
And they're supposed to, well, what if they make a mistake and just run into me?
Right.
And what am I gonna do?
But you're on a mountain, so the mountain's usually big enough, right, for them to avoid.
Yeah, but there's too many people still. It's way overcrowded.
All right, then I'll just go to the beach. I like beach. How about surfing? Have you tried or thought about surfing?
No.
No.
Next topic.
Uh-huh.
No, I've never surfed.
Why not?
I'm not good. I'm good on the ground. I like the ground. I don't even like playing on clay in tennis. I
Have you ever
like playing on hard court. I don't like anything
So no
slippery.
skydiving either?
Didn't you skydive?
No. I never skydove.
Didn't you? You invited me to skydive. You crazy.
Yeah, I
You're
wanted
so
to skydive
impulsive.
with you.
Maybe less now, but you're
So would you want to go to skydiving with me?
no.
Yes. You know what we did? Matilda and I did. We went scuba diving. Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was a weird, interesting experience for someone who's never been scuba diving or like in the sea, like to kind of like go down.
Wait, in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. No, we went to Cancun.
Oh, Cancun.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched Rafa.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no. This was we went to Cancun a few weeks ago.
Oh, you went to Cancun a few weeks ago?
Yeah. For
Your skin so nice.
oh, thank you.
So pretty with your long hair.
I got braids and everything. It was pretty chill.
Yeah. So you scuba dived?
Yeah, so we were going scuba diving, and one of the weirdest like feelings that I had to get used to is this idea that I'm number one floating, number two, there's like all this space that I didn't know about that existed right underneath my feet while I was on the boat. And it's like a frightening thought when you think about it. Like, damn, we're really just like on this thing, just staying afloat. And if we don't have this thing, like I'm going to go down. And at some point, yeah, we had the equipment to survive down there for a little bit, but I run out of oxygen and I die. And it's like, fuck, that's scary. And so then that started creating like this hyperventilating, I don't know what was going on with my body, but I was gasping. I was like scared. I could feel it because, you're trying, the number one thing that you got to do is control your breathing, right? Because it's coming out of this little tube.
Right.
And if you use too much of that oxygen up, you run out of oxygen and it's just a whole clusterfuck of shit.
Yeah.
That got me scared. And the only thing I could do is just control myself and say, hey, I'm no longer scared. Stop being scared. Breathe.
Nice breath. That
Thanks.
was good.
Yeah, it felt great.
Good.
I was just hyperventilating just thinking about it. But yeah, once you get over that like initial descent and that fear and all the anxiety that's coming at you when in your initial descent, then you start to look around and it's actually really beautiful, very peaceful.
How many feet did you go down?
36.
36 feet?
Yeah, I think it was like 36, 40. Funny story though. Actually, speaking about oxygen. So we did 2 dives in one day. The first dive was kind of rough. Again, half the time I was like hyperventilating. I was scared shitless.
Yeah.
The second time I felt like a pro. Like I knew, like I was watching the instructor trying to copy everything that he was doing so that I could be just as good as him, if not better than him at scuba diving.
Okay.
On the second try ever scuba diving.
That's you.
Yeah, it's totally
Mr.
fucking
competitive.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of like digging around. I was fucking around, and there's like this sign language that you're supposed to do when you're like to communicate with the instructor because you can't speak.
Yeah.
So you gotta communicate.
Just give him the middle finger.
No, I didn't give him. And so like they had this like wavy hand thing where you're like jiggling your hand, and this means like something's wrong, like something's bad.
Something's bad.
Yeah. So I was like,
something's bad.
Yeah, something's bad.
Or are you good? I'm okay.
No, something's bad. Like
bad.
I gotta go up.
Okay.
Right. And so the reason why I remember that is because I started looking at my oxygen tank, and my oxygen tank was at like, I don't know what the units are, but it was at like 500. I think we went down with 800. And so it was at 500. I was like, okay, if I time this correctly, I'll figure out how much time I have left before I die. If I try to time this down to the 250, Because then that means like if it takes 10 minutes to get down to the 250, that means I have 10 minutes left before I perish.
And it didn't work like that, did it?
It sort of worked.
It
like
sort of
that.
worked.
It sort of. You know,
Good job, math.
So like 10, 15 minutes went by, and then I realized like I don't have a watch. I don't know how long this has been. So I'm just picking it up and looking at it, and it's down to the 250. I'm like, okay, I should at some point probably say something to my instructor, like we got to go up.
Right.
And then it got down to like the 100, and I'm like, okay, maybe I could ride this. I was like, maybe I could ride this. I could ride this to like the 25 and I'll be good. But then luckily there was like a voice in my head that said, Jorge, this isn't like a gas tank in your car where you just let it get to E and you pray that it gets you to the next gas station. I should probably let him know now in case like, you know, I run out of air on the way up.
Right.
And then I really start to hyperventilate, and then I'm like, causes a fucking shit show for the rest of us. So I tap him. I'm like, hey. And then he looks at it and he goes, his eyebrows raised. He's like, and then he grabs his extra one because you have like an extra one, an emergency
Oh,
one.
nice.
And he hands that to me.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm like, okay, I gotta replace my thing. And so I'm like using his oxygen now, and it's not hitting as strong as
hitting.
like the first one. It's not hitting, man. It's like a little slower, like a little bit more friction. I guess it's to control. I don't know, man. You got 2 people breathing on it, so somebody's got to get the short end. You know, somebody's got to get less oxygen for it to last. And so we float back up, and so then I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, typically, once I think we went down with like a few thousand, not 800, because then he's like, typically once it gets to the 500 mark, that's when we got to go up. You were down like sub 100, like that's very dangerous."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no,
And Matilda's just there. Wait, Matilda went with you, right?
Yeah, Matilda went with
she's
us.
just like floating away. She's
Yeah,
like,
she was
what's going on over there?
She was at like the 300, 400 still. Everybody
Right.
else was still like the 300, 400. And they were doing that because they wanted us to have more time to explore and stuff. I don't know why I breathed it. Like I used up so much oxygen. Maybe it's because.
Big dude.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. Maybe it's because like our muscles, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe they require a lot of oxygen, but it was quite the experience. I think you should totally do it. You should totally go scuba diving. Go under the sea.
Skydiving,
Under
scuba
the sea.
diving. Oh man.
A lot of diving.
One of your client, my also best friend, Joshua Benavides.
Yeah, but I'm your best friend.
It's not a competition.
It's always a competition.
It's always a competition. Let's move on. He was with his fiance in Indonesia, and he had, how many days in a row did he scuba dive? And you know, he has a big fear of like, you know, open ocean. I think. Yeah, I think he does. But you know, his fiance is like, Nofi is like, yeah, let's just do it. And he said it was awesome. Like, I think after you get over the fear of doing something once, like, and then it becomes easier.
Right.
You know, but I don't know. I don't know about that open ocean thing.
I think you'll love it.
I think I will.
I think you'll love it.
Not right now.
Yeah, it's different because it's slow.
It's what?
It's slow.
What's slow?
You're diving. You know, you don't go fast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you
I don't go
descend.
fast.
That's what I mean. So
kill myself so
because
fast.
because you know, like you don't like speed, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't like skydiving. I think you'd like deep sea diving because you go slow. You go down very slowly.
Just like looking behind. I've seen too many shark videos.
Nah,
there's
no
they're
sharks.
they're like just diving down there, and then the shark hits them in the back of the head. It's like, where did that come from? I mean, imagine diving in like murky water. You don't know what. I'm guessing it was really clear.
Yes.
It was super clear.
Very clear.
Yeah.
I could see far. I could see far enough. I could see the coral reefs. I could see all the fish.
Yeah.
We saw blowfish.
Yeah.
We saw like a stingray.
Right.
It was really nice. I saw ghost fish. Those are the ones that sit at the bottom, right? They're like all camouflaged out. And then when the prey like goes to like slightly above them or they're close in proximity, they just pop out and just eat the other fish. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Nature,
man. Nature. But I think you'd really enjoy it. Deep sea diving. What else? Yeah. I love what you were saying though about trying something new.
Yeah.
That's what kind of stuck out to me.
Getting out of your comfort zone, trying something new. You know, I think it's you surprise yourself like actually how smart you are, or how like, I don't know, good you are at something, whatever you're
picking something up.
Yeah, picking something up. You know, I don't think you would regret it.
Right.
You know, Like first time going out camping camping by myself or doing solo hikes, I just was like, oh, I couldn't do that, you know, and I would do it. I'm like, oh, I love this, you know.
How do you get over that?
Over what? The fear?
Yeah.
Of solo?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think you just so I have the hikes that I do are pretty long. Like they're probably between 6 to 10, maybe 12-hour hikes. So they're longer hikes. They're not like 3-hour hikes. And some of them you're deep into the mountains. And I have a Garmin GPS device. My sister got for me. So I can, you know, if I need like search and rescue or something, or I just know where I am at, you know, and I have the All Trails app on my iPhone. So I stay on trail, you know, so, I mean, there's a lot of safety things. There's like 10 essentials. I don't know the exact list, but 10 essentials that you need to have when you're hiking, you know, always, right? So like, you know, clothing, like food, water, hydration, like that. You could have you know, you need a paper map. They say you need a paper map because if your phone breaks and you relied on that as a map, then you're screwed. So a paper map, if you drop it, it's not gonna, you know.
Okay.
So there's just a lot of like safety stuff that you know, you're not gonna get it right the first time, but you know, the more times I went out there, I learned more things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how much actual food you need to bring, or because sometimes you overpack, and then when you overpack, your pack is too heavy, and then when it's too heavy, you move slower and you get more tired. You know, so all these factors are need to be considered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but definitely solo hiking, I really enjoy it just because it just, and I don't even like listening to music while I'm out there. I won't listen to music. I'll just go out there and just hear all the sounds of nature, and it's just so relaxing, and your mind starts to just think about what's important. Like when I'm out there, it really makes me appreciate what I have in my life, you know, and like how much I actually miss being home, being with my 2 dogs, with my girlfriend, you know, and my friends, like, because you're just in solitude, and sometimes you need that reset, but I definitely you learn to appreciate, you know, what you have when you're out there, because I actually don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know what it is, but nature definitely heals.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you ever? No, this is gonna be like a. Yeah, I should have just asked it. That's crazy. Next time.
Ask what?
Have you ever thought about doing shrooms out there?
Shrooms?
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing shrooms out there?
I don't really do drugs.
Yeah.
No.
But shrooms.
Shrooms?
Shrooms.
Don't I sound like such a safe person? You don't want to skydive. You don't want to scuba dive. You don't want to do drugs. It's like,
yeah, don't do drugs, guys.
Shroom. I mean, I have friends who do shrooms, like when they're they do some of that stuff, but they say it's awesome. They say the experience is crazy, but I feel like I have too much anxiety about not being in control of my body, my mind, and I feel like I would probably be a lightweight, so it would easily.
Yeah, but that's more like a spiritual
journey?
Personal. Yeah. It's not. People abuse it. They use it as like a party, like for party reasons, to rave and to do other stuff, or to just do it casually, just for shits and giggles. But on the other side, there's, you use it for like self-discovery. You use it because maybe you're at a point in your life where you need to find out a little bit more about yourself, so that you can guide yourself down this right path, to be more present and more in tune with nature. And so if that's the case, if that's the route that anybody ever wants to take, I'd probably just tell them, like, just start with like one cap, one piece. Wait 2 to 3 hours. Wait for that to you're going to feel something. You're not going to feel like crazy, but it's like feeling like a slight buzz.
I can imagine how great that must feel, especially if you're out there camping at our glamping site and we go out and look at the stars, and then we just start feeling whatever you're feeling, that's gotta be pretty awesome. I'd probably try that though, not in the wild. only because I'd probably do it like in the comforts of my home, just because there's no outside factors, you know.
The first time, if that sets you at ease, absolutely. Another thing is, I would recommend you do it outside because it's just really, I don't know what it is. Yeah, it just hits differently. When you're inside, you're kind of cooped up, and it does become more about yourself and spiritual, and you know, you do think about your just your utter self, not your ego, not your thoughts, not the identity that people have put on you, but your true self. Like, who am I? What am I? What is this consciousness?
I guess I would be afraid that I would like it and then I would want to do it more, you know?
Interesting. I think you would like it. I even if you do it more, again, as long as you're not abusing it.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Everybody has their reasons for doing it.
Right.
But the other side is if you're doing it outside, that's when it feels like you're really in tune with nature. It's kind of like, at least for me, my experience was I'm no longer looking at these leaves and trees as things, items, plants, just part of my simulation, right? I'm kind of seeing them as their own living beings, like their own like pulses, which is kind of cool because, you know, deep underneath the ground, there's all these roots, and trees and plants are able to communicate with each other. They've done like different experiments where they test out the frequency of a plant while they're harming the plant, and they see that like the frequency changes, something like that. And so I just believe that, you know, they grow, they die, they live. They're pretty much like this, like very similar to us, except just on a different frequency.
How long does that high last?
Oh, the shroom trip, it could last somewhere between 3 to 5 hours. Depends on how much you're taking. And
so overnight, you would feel fine the next day, or would you feel sort of like hungover or something?
Not hungover at all. You'll go on the next day feeling the same way, feeling just normal. It's like if I had to compare it to something, it'd be like smoking weed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just like smoking weed, like if you smoke too much weed, it puts you into the couch. You get stuck.
Right.
So again, you don't want to do too much either. It's just like one mushroom cap.
Yeah.
Go out there, go hiking on a nice hike, not a really strenuous hike.
Oh, you're hiking while you are high? Yeah. Oh, I can't do that. No way.
You totally could.
You're like, oh, that's a friendly, fuzzy, little bear. I should. Oh, he's so cute and cuddly.
Yeah, maybe not those areas. You know, definitely do your own research.
I actually haven't seen any bears in the Adirondacks at all.
So, right, but if you've heard from people that you've seen bears in that area, I might want to be sober for that. But people take beers up there. You know, they'll crack a cold one up there. So why not just crack a shroom cap?
Definitely not the first time, but that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I feel like we should do that.
We definitely will.
I feel like we should do that.
I've got his consent. It's on camera.
We should
so
do
I was subtly like throwing that there in for you.
You've been subtly trying to get me to try new things this whole time. You know.
But I think you'll enjoy that. But I wouldn't do it at night personally.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I personally don't like doing it at night.
I thought it was at night.
Yeah, but I'm a bitch. I'm scared of the dark.
Nah, let's do it at night then.
No.
Come on, let's try new things.
I'm so scared of the dark. All right, maybe we'll do it like into the sunset.
Campfire, bro.
That is gonna be nice.
Come on now.
It is.
Sitting there in the campfire.
But
just falling asleep in your.
If you get spooked out easily, I wouldn't do it because.
Me?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
In the dark?
No, not saying that you do get spooked out. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, for anybody that's curious, if you do get spooked out easily by anything, I wouldn't do the shroom trip for the first time at night. I'd do it broad daylight, trees, positive vibes.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we're doing it? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, it's going to be fun.
That sounds great. And then we could talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll write notes. Like, I wrote notes the first time I got high.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, it's so funny. I was like, oh, I feel like I could do a backflip. My friend's like, don't do a backflip. You can't do a backflip. Okay.
Did you try doing the backflip?
No.
Oh, okay.
I listened to my friend.
I would have been, how cool would it have been if you actually did the backflip?
Break my neck.
Oh, fuck. Not It is what it is. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming. Gonna cap it there.